Okay, so part two here. So what do you do if you do not have a particular article in mind, but you just kind of have some vague like topic ideas that you want to, look some more into? How does that process work? So what you can do then is go back to this kind of main library webpage, go to the articles and more. I would click both of these boxes again, saying that I only want peer-reviewed sources. I only want things that we have the full text access to. And then type in search terms that are related to what you're interested in. So I know one of you, for example, was interested in multilingualism as an idea. So I searched this. Again, I better log in. If you're off campus, this will log you out frequently. Okay, so I search this and I say, I only want journal articles, for example. Related to multilingualism. And so I'm getting some things here. I'm getting 21, almost 22,000 things, which is a lot of things. Um, and I can, start narrowing this down a little bit by, disciplines. I'm interested only really in education and multilingualism. I'm also, I don't know, interested in any of them. Interested in, and you can narrow this down by further. There's more subject terms here you can click on. Um, to say I'm particularly interested in like bilingual education with children and youth. If that's where you're headed, you can start narrowing that down. So now you're down to a slightly more manageable amount of articles to deal with. So you can start skimming through some of these and seeing, find at least one that pops out to you as being in some way interesting. So say this one, it says inequalities of multilingualism, challenges to mother tongue-based multilingual education. And you say, oh, okay, that sounds kind of like maybe what I'm interested in. So what you might do then is click on this article. Um, and it's gonna sometimes pull you up a site like this. So you'll say, link me to this article. Click on that article page there. All right, so this is going to take you to the database, which in this case is EBSCOhost, and the journal is communication source here. And you can get a PDF of this full text here. And so you can get this particular article. Now, some things you can do that are helpful here. One is that this database, EBSCOhost, like the library does, is also sorting things out by subject terms, right? So if this pulled you to EBSCOhost as an education site, I think EBSCOhost has a lot of things that are related to education, related to, social science type related fields. Um, and so you can use their search terms here. They're particularly working in Southeast Asia, but you can say, I'm interested in multilingual education. Let me click on this. And it's going to bring up 202 results that are related to multilingual education. 20 of which are book reviews, so you can pull those out. But you can also then, kind of keep narrowing this down by, I'm interested in something about classroom activities that people do. I'm interested in maybe policies that governments maybe have. And so then you're getting, a lot less, only 30 results that you can kind of skim through and see, maybe some of these are related. I'm interested in multilingual assessment. Let me click on this one. Um, and this will give you maybe some other terms to start looking at. You can also, every database that you go to is going to have slightly different kind of features that you can draw on. Almost all of them will have subject terms that you can click on and get those in some sort of detail. A lot of them will also have some sort of feature that's related to find me something similar to this. And so it might look like this button. Some of them will also just have lists of things. And so this is going to find you things that it thinks are also similar to that paper and put them kind of in the order of kind of most relevant things. And so you can start, narrowing these down in ways if you have specific search terms that are applicable to what you want to study. Um, And so this is a great way to get started, and this is all bounced off of just this particular article. And so then you can go back here and say, oh, well, also this post-structuralist critique one looks interesting to me. Let me click on this one, and this is going to take you to Wiley On Library, or Online Library, which is a database that's used a lot for literature type things. And so again, you can kind of do a similar thing here and see, related articles and search terms and things like that off of this one. And so you kind of keep going through all of these, and you all of a sudden find a whole lot of sources that are maybe interesting to you when you kind of start following the rabbit holes down of each of these that might look interesting. And so that's kind of the basic gist of how to use this library website. So the main takeaways I think that you would want to take from this is that if you have a particular article in mind, that's a really useful place to start, because that's going to show you what search terms the library is using, or the databases are using to classify that particular type of topic, and then you can capitalize on those search terms. If you don't have a particular topic in mind, then I would say search the search terms that you think are going to be applicable, that you think might be helpful, and then find off of there at least one or two articles that seems close, and use their search terms. So capitalizing on those search terms is, I think, your biggest takeaway. And the other thing I would say in terms of finding sources is that when you do find a source that looks especially interesting, say this one, for example, what I would recommend doing with this is pulling up the actual article and looking at their works cited page, seeing what's there. A lot of times that will lead you to other really interesting sources that are also related. You'll also see sometimes that this database isn't doing it, but some databases do give you this feature that they'll have kind of a bar next to this article that will say, sources that have cited this article. And so what that's going to show you is sources published, after May 2017, that have cited this article, that this one is in their works cited page. So someone's building off of this. So some databases will have that feature. Definitely use that if they have it. Not all databases do. This one does not seem to. So what I want you guys to do now for a little bit of activity, I guess, is use this library website, start looking around for sources that seem relevant to you. When you find a source that seems relevant, take down the citation for it somewhere, keep kind of a running Word doc somewhere on your computer of sites or citations that look useful to you so you can reference them later, or just start kind of mass saving articles if you want. Start pulling up some things that seem useful. Start getting, get a start on this sort of research. I think with all of you right now have like, a little bit of broadness to your research topic. And what that means is that really like there's probably a lot of articles out there that are related to you, because you're not probably super specific yet for the most part. And so this process can also help you start narrowing down that research topic when you see how other people have narrowed down the research topic. And you can start building off of that to narrow down your topic and create a more specific research question. And this will also, then help you kind of start building that literature review and gap for yourself. So start looking around the library webpage, whether that be for articles or books. Figure out what search terms are kind of useful for you. Start getting a little bit of a list of sources going. Basically get a start on this process to help you narrow down what you're looking at. What you guys will find, I suspect for most of you, is that there is a huge amount of literature out there on the topics that you are looking at. I want you to not be overwhelmed by that. So there's a lot out there because a lot of people are doing research. So I'll tell you that for the purposes of this class, I am not expecting you to know all of the literature out there on, ethnicity and language thought or whatever that may be. It takes people years to, know a lot of the literature in their field and know what the important literature is. And so I'm certainly not going to expect you guys to get the full breadth of that for this class in the couple of weeks that we're working on this project. You'll figure that out for your own particular field. What I do want you to do, though, is to say, I have a research topic in mind. Let me read some of the literature. And so certainly you're probably not going to read all of it, but I want you to read some of it and get a sense for what that process looks like for, looking for other sources and using those to create a gap for yourself. And so don't feel like, if you wind up with 20,000 results that are actually interesting in some way, certainly don't feel like you have to read all 20,000 of those. Pick out some ones that seem interesting to you. And I am certainly not going to dock you in this class if you overlook one that maybe would be important or something like that. So don't feel too stressed out and don't feel too overwhelmed by this, hopefully. But I do want you to kind of practice what that process looks like. And so hopefully this will get you started on that. So take some time, search for your topic, see what sorts of things you come up with. If you're having a huge amount of trouble or you just want some more help, there's two things I would recommend to you. One is you can come talk to me. Another is that the library has librarians that are here to help you with this sort of thing. And so you can find, where can you find the librarians? So there's particular, librarians for particular subjects who are basically employed to help you. And so they list them all here and what topics they kind of go with. So if you want to do research in, computer science and robotics, talk to this person. I'll say for our class, this is the librarian, Ethan Pullman here. So if you are, I would say for this class, he would be the first one that I would talk to. And if you're getting into very specific subject matter in a different field, he might refer you to someone else. But if you want someone who really knows the ins and outs of databases and how those work and need a little bit of help, don't be afraid to get in touch with Ethan. He's very friendly and very happy to meet with students. All right, so that's what I have. If you have questions, talk to me or Ethan. Otherwise, get started on your research.